also done some improvements here because there's no more timeout on live view, which means I can actually broadcast continuously now. I could even walk away if we don't have rain, leave my camera here for hours on live, which is quite fantastic. I'm just going to get a few other things, get the rest setting. Hopefully no rain. Looks a bit cloudy here. Had some drizzle, a bit of drizzle. I'm underneath a tree here. But I'm going to try and set up the second camera to give a different perspective. So, and in the meantime, just enjoy the view. I'll be walking backwards and forwards, setting up some more technical stuff, but this should be on continuous broadcast now. Yeah, hi there everyone at the White Rock Eagle Chat, and hi to Danny Raptorman. Of course, special welcome to him. So I'm live now. As I said, I've got a much better setup here on the ground, a very, very stable tripod. I've managed to change settings even of my camera to continue to have continuous broadcast now. So as long as the encoder does what I want it to do, there's no more interruption now, I hope, and of course it'll give a very stable view, no more shaking from the lift. As the eaglets branch, Indy branch today, unfortunately we can't see him at the moment. I don't know if he's asleep or not, but anyway, this is very, very encouraging. I think it's much better to do do broadcast from the ground because it can easily swing over to the bay and show you the overview, and at the same time I've got a table set up. What I'm going to do now is spend the next 15 minutes, get a camera too, so I can at least show you the setup. Yeah, I might just dismantle the tripod, so give me 15 minutes, so you won't hear very much at the moment. It's going to run backward and forward, but enjoy the view, okay? I can see the microphone's also working. We have 10 viewers at the moment. I'm just going to continue my setup, so I'm going to run backwards and forwards, just to maintain the view on the nest, okay? think the back feed is taken care of. I'm beginning to realize how this encoder works, because I think I may have to reboot the whole system, because the encoder seems to not work properly if it doesn't recognize the cameras from the beginning, I believe. I'm just going to switch over to camera 2. If the same happens again. If it bangs a bit, just turn your speakers down. I apologize, I have to go through some tests. A little bit to the south and show you some of the views of the bay. As you can see, it's exceptionally beautiful. Okay, and there's the Echo and Foxy. Yeah, you're okay. Now the dog came, greeting me here, and doesn't understand what I'm doing here. Yeah, you're okay. Now she's jumping at me. Sorry. Now she's licking me. Oh gosh, no. I can't show you. She's too close. You have to go away a bit, okay? Then otherwise they can't see you. I have to bring my other lens. Maybe Rosanna can bring my other lens later. I don't know. It would be wonderful, because I have it on the dining room table. I just forgot it. Anyway, let me switch to the other camera now. Looking at the nest. So let me just give you a view of my main lens there. Sorry, I got a dog jumping at me at the same time now. So it's a little bit difficult, but anyway, that's my other lens. That's the 800mm. So I'm just going to put this camera down because I'm holding it in one hand and switch over. Okay, that's a view of the nest. when Indy and oh gosh, I always sorry, I'm always mixed up with Echo and Foxy in my head. Jules and Indy, I have to get this into my head. Jules and Indy, I apologize, Indy and Jules. When they're going to be branching, you're going to have a wonderful time here, a wonderful view. You should be able to hear me, because I can see there's a complaint that you can't hear me, because that's strange, because I can hear myself. I can improve the microphone, okay? Well, thank you, so you can hear me. I will improve all that, don't worry. I mean, this is really easy stuff compared to what I'm doing at the moment, is to change it. I know the one microphone is a bit further. I don't have a long line, so I could get closer to the microphone, but it's not a, it's not a major problem. I will fix all this, okay? In a few days, when the new system will be running, this is going to be a constant, very good audio and so on. So don't worry about it, okay? The most important is the video quality is exceptional. There's not much to show. There's just a storm brewing up at the moment. Let's see. We've got one of these wonderful days where another storm is brewing up. So I look forward to having long, stable sunshine here. In the evenings, we had a beautiful evening yesterday evening, and I took a wonderful video of Pa. You would have so enjoyed it. Well, you wouldn't have enjoyed the part where Pa gets chased by the crow, but it was incredible light. So I had a bit of time to do some beautiful videos here. And then I heard this morning that Indy had branched, and of course that is fantastic. Yes, David is, that's correct. David will come and join shortly. Yeah, you can see some wings there. Well, when I look at the sea here, you probably know there's been a major earthquake on the Aleutian Islands. I saw that, I get these earthquake reports in my email, so I saw it was an 8.0. Somewhere near the Rat Islands. If you look at the Aleutians, go right to the tail of the Aleutians. It resembles, the Aleutian Islands resemble the shape of a bowl, and if you go right westwards, so to the left of the map, there's a sort of a longish island there, and yeah, that's near the Rat Island, and I saw there was an earthquake of 8.0 there, which is quite shocking. Fortunately, it's not very densely populated, but anyway, that's also a place where eagles are. That's why I'm quite aware of that. I know that Jack Mullen, the famous fisherman with his lovely eagle images, he's often out there. I think he's out there. Oh, I heard Ducky, you cannot hear me, but that is really not my problem. I'm sorry, that problem must be on your side, because I hear myself in the headphones, which is complete proof to me that the audio is working. Okay, so you have to see something about your, I'll type in here, Ducky, look at your loudspeaker settings. It is working. Okay, that's right. Okay, so I just typed it. Okay, let me switch back to the other camera. Let me just, before I do that, I don't have a tripod here for the second camera. The reason why I'm not going to put anything extra here, because I just feel that it could start raining any moment, and there's not much activity with the eagles, so I'm not going to set up any more equipment. But I do promise, I will give you a much better view when once the one camera is working, I have time to solve the other problems, which is very fine, and you're seeing a very clear view of the nest. Just for fun, I'm going to give you an incredible close-up, and you'll see how stable the camera is as compared to when I'm up there. see, that is absolutely a crazy resolution that we have from down here. You can see every single part of the nest. That's what I can offer you, which is stunning. So you know, you can actually you'll see the single flies in summer. You will see them with my camera, you know, resolve. I hope you're going to enjoy as these two branch. I think you're going to get a quality that you've never seen before. I hope I can offer something special. Oh, sorry. There's some problem here with the mic. Okay, that's better. Sorry about it. I understand what's going on. The one microphone is picking up the wind, and I've got a second microphone on there that's not picking up the wind. So I just need to sort out that. Maybe I have to switch off the one microphone and only go for the external microphone. I can see what's happened. The channels were mixed, and that's why you got the noise. I didn't understand where the noise came from, but it's clear now where the noise is coming from. Okay. So here's a close-up of the nest. You want to know what structure the nest is in? Let me just see the message. Yeah, okay. The audio quality is superb now. I understand what has happened here. I will sort all this out. I was having two microphones going from two different channels, and the microphone on the camera is picking up every single sound, which is not you know, all the wind, and at the moment the wind is picking up. So I put a better microphone on it. So you know, I'm going to show you the structure now of the nest, so you can see that. Do you want to know what shape this is in? Let me maybe go for the. You should be able to hear them at the moment. There. I think you're going to get a fairly good overview of you know, how and what shape the nest is. Something you certainly don't see from the cameras there. Okay, I think David Hancock should be arriving. Unfortunately, again, there's not much to see. Can't do anything about that. Do you know how many viewers? Does anybody know how many viewers there are? Because I can't see all that. The question, I just ran back to the monitor. Well, let me just take the monitor here. The question was, are the parents near? No, they are not. I do not know where they are. I would show them to you if I saw them. I don't know where they are. Good question. The wind is picking up now, coming directly from the west. Typical storm weather. Remember that time when I first did my first broadcast? It's very similar. I'm covered underneath a tree, and the car is about well, 30 feet away, so you know I can the equipment here, except for my lens, can bear some rain, but the rest cannot. So if rain starts, I'm going to jump like mad because I don't want you know, the electronics to get affected. Okay. So I've now brought my laptop right next to the camera because that's where the microphone is. Um, it's really getting ugly here, the weather. uh, let's see if I can switch over to the other camera and just give you a view. There you go. Getting very stormy. Looking right across the bay now. Oh, by the way, looking straight ahead, that's a tree that Pa often is perched on. I've managed to take some beautiful photographs from him being perched on there early in the morning, but no view of Pa at the moment. That's looking to the States, looking westwards. And it's starting to rain. Oh no. Gee. There comes David Hancock. Just in time for the rain. Yeah, David, we've got, we're live, but,
Oh,
no, I'm live, it's fine.
oh, right now?
Yeah, yeah, I'm live, I've got this going on, but the problem is the rain.
Yeah. Well,
That's the problem.
no,
So,
sure. You said you weren't going to do it in the rain,
well,
but you thought it wasn't
well,
too bad.
you know me, I don't give up. It's just the
Well,
way it
you're giving
is.
up.
Anyway, the nest is in beautiful view, and the audio is superb, but not much to see.
Is it high?
Yes, it's very high. It's low
What
tide.
is the timing of it
10,
right now?
10,
Morning?
10 a.m. Yes, morning.
And 10 tonight then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's a bit of a pity. It's gonna work all. It's getting better and better here. I didn't set up the second camera because
window does it come through in?
Oh, this is the Hancock window.
Yeah,
This is-
but
this
does
is
it come?
wildlife. That's a live window.
Okay, but you just set up a separate window for live.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I didn't look at that. Is it the very first window on the live screen?
Yes, there's only one on the live discussion. But I'm not going to change it now because I got all these windows set up.
Yeah.
But yes.
Do you have vid? No, you don't have vid blast.
No, I don't. I'm just looking at the White Rock chat room too because that's where they can communicate. They say hello, David. So communicate. They can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Yeah, here's the microphone, by the way. Here,
Oh.
if you want to talk, David, then I'll change all this later. But at the moment, we still have to speak into here. But it's very sensitive. Okay, so they can hear you very well.
Well, it's good that you're firing away on all these things, and we made some progress, as I think I mentioned to you with Ben. He got the Vid Blaster program up and
Yes,
running,
yes,
the
that's
one that
good.
Richard had before going, and he's got a connection on it so that this camera will be able to go live through the editing program.
Right.
And one of the cards, video cards, that will enable more than one camera, new camera, will be arriving, we hope, shortly. It just hasn't been found, actually. And the two people who said they had it didn't have it. So
Right.
these things are always little challenges. But once that's going, then we can simply be portable from anywhere, not just here, but from any site. So that will be interesting. Yeah,
There are
it's
quite a few people in the chat room greeting you and very happy to hear from you.
Ah,
So-
okay. I'm happy to say hi to them. It's unfortunate today that it's a bit rainy. My guess is, I mean, I guess you can see it on the other cameras. They're probably, the chicks are hunkered down, just avoiding the drizzle.
Yeah. But it'll get better.
Yeah, just as I came from the house, all the ducks were sitting looking miserable as well. Yes,
Oh, well.
I mean, even ducks don't like rain. I think
No.
it runs off their back the same as it,
No.
well, even better than it runs off the
Yeah.
eagles. But they're never quite as happy in the rain as they are when it's sunny and warm. So, have we seen any food come in tonight?
No, I haven't. Maybe people on the nest have. I certainly haven't.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting that this chick has started to branch today. I mean,
Yes.
that's
Yeah, that's Indy.
it has, yeah, Indy, and it has both good and not necessarily bad, but worrisome components.
Why?
Well, I mean, normally they don't fly until the 12th week, and this
Right.
bird is only 8 weeks. In fact, I think it will be 8 weeks on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, it's pretty young, and when you see it, when I looked at the shots of it this morning, the tail is about 2/3 grown, and the wings are, when I saw it flash the wings, it's hard to guess it, but they're maybe a little bit more than 2/3 grown.
Okay.
So the worry is, I mean, there's two risks to a bird when it's at this stage. The first risk is that when the feathers are in their full growth, in the blood it's called, with those big blue shafts,
Yes.
those are the blood sheaths where the feather is actually growing within that blue sheath. And there's a risk that the birds at this age, if they jump around very much, they'll hit that wing on a branch and they'll nick those blood sheaths, and then they bleed and they ooze out all the proteins and so on that are growing the feather.
Oh, I see.
And then the feather itself doesn't grow properly.
Oh,
So that's a risk, and there has been kind of a general belief, there's a chick putting his wing out.
Yeah.
There's a general belief that during this last week and the next week before that feather, or 10 days before the feather is completely grown, or all of them are, that they seem to do a little less jumping around. I mean, it's like it's almost built into them. They're putting all that energy into growing all those feathers simultaneously, because every primary, every secondary, and every big tail feather are all growing at the same time. An immense amount of energy required for this short period of time. And so it seems, the belief is that the energy is going into the production of all these 20, 40,
Oh, right.
50 something
right.
feathers, 55, 56 feathers.
Right.
And that, well, that takes a lot of food and it takes a lot of energy. And so as the compensation, they don't do a lot of jumping around and using up extra energy. And that's probably good, because then they don't risk much jumping and potentially banging one of those blood sheaths, and in a sense causing the demise of that feather.
Right.
So that's the one reason, and of course the other risk is, once you've started to get your big fans, these great wings out there, you're susceptible to a gust of wind.
Very susceptible. We've seen it.
Yes, we've seen it, and many
right.
other people watching this have seen this, and they want to stretch, and they put those great wings out, and a gust of wind comes up, and woo, they're gone. And of course,
Yes.
they're not ready to be gone, and that's the end of them, because they come down to the ground unless there's a fine rehabber nearby, and we're fortunate on that basis.
Yes.
But even the feathers, the state they're in today, it would not be a great gliding flight.
No.
Because
no,
he hasn't
no,
got enough
no.
control of those wing muscles yet. So
No.
it could be a pretty quick descent, and potentially, depending on what it hit, lethal. But so you kind of hope they don't branch too soon. You want
Right.
them to be energized, energetic, and well exercised,
Right.
because they got that 1,000-mile or 2,000-mile flight yet to come, if you count going around in a lot of circles on your soaring. So there's some big sort of built-in biological conflicts right now. You want the chick to get those feathers all grown in as short a time as possible, all safely, all without those blood sheaths nicked at all. And secondly, when the wing isn't yet really strong enough to support the body, you don't want a gust of wind lifting them off the branch and them doing a rather steep descent. So there's a pretty, I think, important balance that the birds have learned. Don't be too risky on the nest too early, because there is a high risk in it. But
So you haven't seen branching at 8 weeks? very
I
often,
don't
then?
think I've seen branching quite that early.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I'm sure it does happen,
right.
and I'm sure it's
That's interesting.
been part of the learning process that birds do this. It's exciting. They get to stand up, and but it is cloaked in potential
Whoops, there was
risk.
a poop.
Yeah, there comes one,
Yeah.
and there goes a nice wing shake. See, now we're fortunate at this nest that there's not a lot of branches.
There's a question for David.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
just-
wait a minute. I want to finish that thought here.
Okay,
The interesting thing is, this nest doesn't have a lot of branches in the road, so that bodes well for the one component. They're not likely going to be banging those nice blood feather on branches and breaking or causing them to bleed. There, the other one stood up and it had a relief as well. So they've both now had a relief.
Well, there's an interesting question here.
Yes.
The amount of food that they've been receiving, does that affect their growth rate very much?
Well, sure, sure. I mean, have they not been getting a lot today? I would assume they have.
Well, I think typically in the morning 7, 8 times
Yeah.
we've seen that.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. I don't know what the whole day is, but it's...
Yeah. Now they're needing a lot of the growth of all those feathers requires a lot of energy, so they do need a lot of food right now. But they've also put on, as you know, the body of these birds is probably as big as it's ever going to be. I mean, the body is probably
Yes.
already 8, 9 pounds.
Uh-huh.
So the body has a lot of baby fat in it.
Yes. Yes.
And when there isn't new food, meaning new energy going into the crop that can be
Right.
directly used, then they draw. Yes, he's getting out there on the edge already, isn't he?
Oh,
got
what a
you
wonderful
got a
view. Look
lovely
at
shot of
that.
him. Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, and they're both there. I'm sure they're getting a better look from the other side. So great to get exercise, and of course, this is the other balance here. The more time they've got those wings out and flopping them, the stronger become those supportive muscles, so that if they do get lifted by a gust, there's more chance that they can glide their way down to the ground somewhere. So, I mean, in the wild, that probably would be catastrophic.
Catastrophic, of
yeah,
course,
because
yes,
in most cases, at least on our northwest coast,
Uh-huh.
not everywhere, but in our area, the ground cover is an undergrowth, and when you come down into it, there's that last 12, 15, 18 feet that is impenetrable. If they go down through it, they're never taking off again. They'd have to walk for miles to get themselves out of it, and probably couldn't.
Right.
But no, these ones have got a nice open platform for doing their practicing on, and
Yeah, well, they're saying this is Jules on the branch again. So Jules was flapping the wings. That's,
Ah.
yes.
the one is actually standing on the branch right now.
Yes,
is it?
yes, yeah. Well, on the right, on the one on the right,
one on
flapping the wings
fly-
at the moment.
He's on
right?
a branch, not on the nest itself.
It looks like that. We can't
Yeah,
see
it could
from
be.
here. Yes, yes.
Oh, look at that! He's
Wow,
almost
wow,
well.
wow.
He's
He's
just
getting so eager.
oh my goodness, he's enjoying that air, and he's just giving it the holy go there. My goodness, that's risky, but I mean it's risky,
very
but
risky. We just need a
it's,
gust of wind and
yeah,
that's it.
and yes, a gust while he's just letting go and
yeah.
feeling his oats, and then whoop, he's gone. And so it's a balance.
Yeah.
At the same time, he's
That's the way you
gaining
learn,
muscles.
yes.
That's the way you learn, and
Yeah.
he's gaining muscular control. He's gaining sensitive control on each feather, because you know every feather has thousands of muscles controlling it at every angle. And that's ultimately the growth that's going to determine
Yeah.
whether he can feather properly, controlling each feather for a good, safe landing or not. So it's an interesting balance, getting all that good exercise in, but not having too much of a gust that comes at the wrong part of a moment.
By the
Or
way,
will
when
be.
it was very interesting when I was here on Sunday. So Sunday, yeah, it was yesterday.
Yesterday.
That's right. You confuse me all the days.
No.
It was so often. It was very interesting. I was on the lift at 7 in the morning. I didn't broadcast that time because I just wanted to take some pictures. And it was interesting. Pa came in with a huge midshipman. So it obviously was a big male.
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
huge. I got it on a photo. I couldn't believe it. And then I suddenly heard boof. And what happened is he dropped it by mistake all the way to the bottom, okay?
Really?
And the next thing I saw him dive. And you know, the dogs were in the garden. He didn't worry about it. He got it before the dogs went. He just dove
Came
down
right
like
down
a
to the
rocket,
ground and
like
picked
a
it up.
rocket, and picked the thing up again. I was really impressed.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's lucky that he's got a nice clear lawn below. If it was a wilderness bit of undergrowth, it would be through the undergrowth.
Yes.
He'd never, ever see it again, let alone be able to get it. So nice.
Yeah, you see some amazing things.
And this bird has been conditioned to coming to the ground, because as you know,
Yes.
over the years, whether it's the same pair or not,
Yes,
but
yes.
we would put the early sticks right here in front of us
So that they get
on the grass, and they could come down through the clearing here, grab them, and head out over that the
Right,
cliff. And
right.
it was perfect for them to grab sticks. And then late in the year, we would put out, and Russ put out some bags or plastic bags of that nice, like moss.
Right.
That they would then come in and grab it and take it up for the nest cup. So that kind of conditioned them to saying this is a pretty safe place.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of places they wouldn't want to be
Yeah.
down on somebody's lawn. That would just be, they wouldn't feel safe. But
Well, they
here,
certainly don't care about me. I've noticed that
No,
many times.
no. And-
On the beach even.
no, this is the unique thing about these urban eagles is that they accept us. They accept houses. They accept cars. They accept bikers and
Yes.
baby carriages and dogs. And I mean, they have just adapted to the city.
Oh, look
or
at
the
both
urban-
of them now.
Yeah, now they're both got their wings
Wow.
up.
Can you see if there's some more questions here? Okay. Let me see if you have any questions for David, now's the time. I'll read your questions.
Notice he's walking out another step. I can see him doing his side step there. Oop.
Yeah, one of the suggestions here from Danny is we're closer to the ground because we're closer to wine and cheese that way. I like the theory. That we wouldn't go up in a lift. Because of wine and cheese. Well, it's not that wrong.
Where's the wine and cheese? Are you serving
No,
tonight? 'Cause
next time.
We're much closer to your house than we are to mine. I mean, we
Yeah,
always get
what
wine
are you,
and cheese
what are you
at mine.
implying?
But,
What are you implying?
I'm implying that we're closer to your house, and when we leave here, at the suggestion
That's
of
fine.
Danny, we'll go and have wine and cheese.
That's fine with me. That's wonderful. We have enough wine.
Yes.
I have enough South African wine in the house, so it's
good.
never a lack. It's a very good suggestion. I agree.
And of course, again, to remind people, it's because it's getting close. Our what we call historically the Fledge Fest, which is coming up on the 9th, the Sunday, the 9th of July, where anybody listening to this, anybody interested in eagles, is totally welcome to come to our house, where we're having a gathering of eagle enthusiasts.
Here's an interesting question from Danny. What is your opinion on the decline of the sea stars? Do you have an opinion there? Because I do not have one. I am not. I don't know what to say. But do you have any?
Well, is it the sea stars, the so-called starfish, that are declining, or is it referring to the sea cucumbers? There's so many different things that go through harvest things. I don't know if people.
Oh, he says starfish.
Starfish. Okay,
Starfish.
You know,
starfish.
I hate to say this. Locally, I didn't know we were having a decline of starfish.
okay.
So there you go.
Okay.
I knew we'd gone through a while ago a decline of the sea cucumbers, which are of course related, but they're very soft and baggy, and they were historically eaten by First Nations, but not recently. But there is a culture in the Italian community where they were from the Mediterranean, where there were a lot of sea stars, and the Italians got into commercially harvesting sea stars.
The
here.
Italians, really?
Yeah, not as sea stars, the sea cucumbers, and that because it had never been done in a big number before.
Right.
Then a few years back, they had to start and figure out how to manage this, because nobody had ever, learned anything about the population dynamics of sea cucumbers. How quickly did they reproduce, and what was their age span, and all of these things. So they've started studies on it, so they have some reasonable basis on which to allow a harvest, and kind of maybe set limits or seasons. That's the other thing. And they've just not done that before. But I know that, I guess maybe I did hear there was a challenge with sea stars, but I don't know anything particularly about it.
There are some interesting comments here. They say there, especially on the west coast, there was another comment that starfish are seeing a decline, and they're also served in Chinese restaurants. That's what.
Oh, are they really
Yes, that's
sea
what.
stars? Oh, well.
That's what I'm reading here.
Well, there you go. I mean, I didn't know people were eating sea stars. I mean, to be honest. Ooh, here comes the train.
Well, it's actually quite a nice evening, where it hasn't rained so far, and we're seeing some action. Wow, it's loud.
It also sounds, when you're listening to it, that they've got some wheels locked and they're pulling them, because it sounds like some of the wheels are actually squealing.
Yes. Well, there's tremendous action up there now, so that's positive. We have something to show.
Yeah. They got all excited about the trains.
Yeah, next time the setup's going to be much nicer. We're going to have a second camera pointing at us, and we'll have the software and all that.
When you've been looking at these over the last months and so, when the train goes by, but particularly toward the low tide, when the eagles have accumulated along the cliff here, my guess is, even though we're not right on the edge of the cliff, but the train has just gone all the way from the south, from the north going south here, I have not seen a single eagle fly out over the water. But when the tide is low, and there's a lot of eagles in here, sometimes there's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 eagles, are simply lifted off those cliffs by the excitement of the train
Yeah,
passing,
and actually,
the noise.
I've taken some of my most beautiful images when the train comes, because
Yeah,
that's the
that's-
warning. I know now it's time to pick up your camera. And,
Yes, exactly.
and,
But
and-
I
and-
didn't see any today. That's why I'm coming. I haven't seen a single eagle break all across that area, and I suspect it's because there aren't many eagles
Right.
out here right now because the tide's high.
Yes, yes,
They're somewhere else.
yes.
Oh, hi!
Yeah, yesterday morning we had quite a few eagles. I took some incredible images yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I mean, the sun came, and there was a you know, you got these beautiful moss-covered rocks.
Oh,
Okay.
down here.
Yeah, and some of them look a bit more like pyramids and so on. And there's one image I took was incredible. It was actually an eagle flying, and I was lucky because the wind was blowing towards the you know, towards the ocean, which and at the same time the light came from the front. And there you had this beautiful eagle landing very slowly on a rock, and I got the most magnificent picture of an eagle landing ever. You know, so the whole
Maybe we
sequence.
can make it a calendar page.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
going to be the you know, the has to be the front cover. It's so beautiful. I think it's it's definitely the best one I've done
But
this year.
we are talking about the intertidal zone.
Yes, here, down here.
Then this is not meant to be critical,
Oh,
but
no.
meant to be corrective.
Why?
Well, it's not a moss-covered rock.
It is.
No, it isn't.
What is it then?
It's an algae-covered
Oh,
rock.
sorry. Okay.
So, David,
Yeah, hi.
you
We've
have to.
we've just been visited by Russ.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we were live here.
Yes.
Oh, we're live. Oh, okay. Well, you better come over here so I can talk.
Oh dear, we're going to get.
Pull that. Pull that.
Should we shut
okay.
the? All right. So we have to go over and talk.
I'm buying it. Put it in here. Put it in here.
Okay, I'll go back. Okay, David's just talking to Russ, that's the owner. I'm back now, it's Christian. So we're very lucky that we can have this, you know, be here on the property, very generous, and do these broadcasts, which are quite incredible. And that you can have this view, I don't think that that this is really something special. I mean, I know quite a few nests, but I know no nest with this type of view, with this type of generosity, with this type of, well, just special that David is here, that we have the possibilities here, that I have the equipment, you know, that we have the support from Hancock, that we have the White Rock Eagle chat. You know, there are many, many very good things about this area. I just love it, and I'm very appreciative of that. So there's quite a wind picking up now. Let me just listen to the microphone. Yep, I can hear the wind picking up, but it's still bearable. I've got a noise filter on, a sort of a wind filter. But 1 second, just bear. It's going to be a bit of noise. I'm just going to put a windshield on here for 1 second. Okay, this should be slightly better. I put a what they call a dead cat on there. Not a real dead cat, okay. I think that's what you call it. Yeah, it does help a bit. So much for dead cats. Good. See if I can give you a bit of a different view now. I'm going to just point towards the ocean here. Because it's much easier for me to maneuver this now. Gosh, it's so gray at the moment. Can't even focus. Yeah, that's the pointing over at the US. Oops. But I'm sorry, the camera won't even focus because it's incredibly sensitive at the moment. Contrast is rather poor. So let's see. Get it back to the nest now. Yeah, no more action here at the moment. There we go. Very nice. Has the rain stopped? I think it hasn't started. You know, some drops. I don't know what to make of this weather, whether to run any second or to continue. But at the moment we're just continuing. We're brave here. It hasn't. It's sort of slightly drizzling. We're lucky we're underneath a big tree here. You know, a big, very tall tree similar to the eagle's nest. Only doesn't look as beaten as the eagle nest does, as the eagle tree does. But it does give us a bit of rain shield. So far so good. I'm sure that in 2-3 days we'll be broadcasting in wonderful weather. I think tomorrow probably there'll be no broadcast. I will endeavor to broadcast early in the morning because I think it's very active and it's very easy to do it from the ground here. Yeah, it's just the way the weather is at the moment. So you're back.
Good. Well, that was interesting.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get hell for something. No, I'm joking.
No, we didn't.
But what it was,
No,
we didn't at all. So I could make this a commercial spot because Russ I'd given him a couple of books on the Arctic and helicopter flying. And he was so impressed with them, he wanted me to get some more for some of his friends. So
oh, okay, Amy, you had a question. Can you just write the question again? Because I'm looking at the live screen and it scrolls automatically, so I cannot scroll back. Just tell me what your question was.
Yes, while he's doing that, on the new system that we're getting, we're going to be able to have Skype. Maybe not the first few days, maybe not the first few days, but we're going to be able to have Skype come in live, so we'll be able to take the questions live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, the question is, because both have fairly large beaks and so on, are those both females? Do you think these two eaglets are both females?
Boy, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to bow to the knowledge, the detailed knowledge of the people who look at these things hours and hours on end. Because those kinds of details are the kinds of things that some of our viewers have noted very, very carefully. And I seldom get to look at this pair of birds. So if they're both big and similar proportioned, then they probably are both the same sex. Which they're going to be, I don't know. I don't think there's any easy answer to this. That's the point. But people who watch them all the time. Now, one of the things that people who've watched these for years and that I was able to come up with long time ago, I mean several other people as well, is that there is this great difference in the calls of the male and the female, the adults. And the female has a much deeper pitched call than the higher pitched call of the male. Now, it's very possible that that same kind of difference in the intonation almost of the chick's call could be identified. And I remember about 4 or 5, maybe it's almost 6, goodness me, this has gone on for a few years now. 4 or 5, 6 years ago, we had a chap in Edmonton who was a sound engineer.
Right.
and and I apologize, I can't remember his name at the moment. Some of our old-time listeners will remember his name. And he was trying to do oscilloscope analysis
Right.
of the chicks' calls and so on in
Right.
order to see if he could determine the differences. And we never did get that concluded, to my knowledge, unless he did later and I didn't get informed. But um, since it's quite clear on the adults, if you hear them both,
Right.
it's quite possible you could determine this at a juvenile age as well. So maybe some of our present viewers keep the records of these
Right.
calls and then put them through some kind of an analysis. I mean, he was a sound man, so he had all the kind of instrumentation to analyze it. And maybe we'll come up with something that is a clue that everybody can use. But I wouldn't want to gamble on it, because if I say what it is, it's going to be quoted, and I'm only going to be wrong on
Well,
a thing
I
like
can
this.
quote you what Danny suggested. He said, "Pull out a credit card and you'll know the gender instantly."
You mean if it pulls out a credit card? Oh, I see. If I pull out a credit card, the females will go for it. Oh, I shouldn't have said it that way, should I? Well, if only life was so simple as in human behaviors. Oh, I'm really going to get hell.
Oh, this is bad. Me too. I can't go. I won't go home tonight.
No.
I think we'll just disappear in the
Yeah,
bar somewhere.
well, we'll get a bottle of that wine and we'll just go quietly somewhere by ourselves.
problem
There's
is
no
this-
wind.
I'll take you any better.
fun.
The problem is that somebody here is going to record everything we say and put it on YouTube, so we're eternalized on top of it.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Well, and
So-
it'll come back to bite us at a later
Well,
time.
You said. I said.
Well, I'm kind of suspicious. That's why I don't want to say something about the chicks that I'm not really sure
Yeah.
of. I
Well,
mean,
we don't. Yeah. Well, it's. But it's. I think your answer is very fair. I think there are quite a few that have observed them in detail. And that's
Absolutely.
that's a wonderful thing about this, isn't it?
well, it's the thing that happens at each of the nests where you get a few people who intimately know Ma and Pa, and they
Yes.
only have to see
Yes.
a
Yes.
flick of a piece of
Yeah.
the head, a one wing,
Yeah.
and they know
They know.
who it is. Where most people, myself included,
Yes,
unless
myself
you
too,
put
too.
put that intensity,
Yes.
you don't see the little differences. And so it's another good point here is to get people to watch for these small changes. I mean, the female or the male might have one feather that's constantly out of place because it's got something genetically, or maybe it hurt it when the feather was growing and the feather grows at an angle, or maybe it's got dirt on it that lasts for 1 or 2 weeks, and you've heard the call and you know, oh yes, that's Ma, and now Ma's got
Yes.
something on her beak. But it may clear off in a week or so. But you get these little clues, and they help in tracking these
Yeah,
things down.
I have a cheat. I have the crows help me cheat because they're always after Pa, very few times after Ma.
Is that
Because
right?
he is the
Yeah.
thief. You see that tree right on the opposite side? That's
Yes.
where the crows are. And I saw him a few days ago, every evening, more or less at the same time, dive into the tree. And the crows know it. They know.
Pa dives into the
Yes,
tree.
and Ma does not do that. She doesn't.
Well, I mean, there's only about this week period when crows are vulnerable to
Exactly,
being caught.
exactly.
And it may be that there's
Yes.
has been a nest
Yes,
in there
yeah,
recently.
there was.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right, because he tried it the day later and there was nothing there, so he stopped, But the crows know it. They was around him. They felt this guy is going to go there now,
Well, potential prey
yeah.
is very wisely concerned
Yeah,
about
yeah.
being predated and becoming dinner. And crows have that. I've explained it before, but if there's some other viewers listening, it's when the crow is called a brancher, just like our eagle here was a brancher. The crows get too big, 3, 4 of them, usually 3, in the nest, and the nest is not big enough for them to sit in any longer, and they
Right.
start to walk along the branch,
Yes,
the
yes.
same way as this eagle
Exactly.
left the main nest. And soon as they start to walk along the branch,
Whoops.
they're visible to the eagle as a moving item, and boy, the eagles come in and try and knock them off the branches and grab them. They're apparently a young crow. Not having eaten one myself, I can't attest to this, but apparently they're edible. And they're certainly catchable for that short period of time. But crow, the adult crows, and I guess the young crows
Right.
learn it from the parents, as we've seen in a number of crow studies.
Gonna close.
They learn this predation element, and for the rest of their life, they're going to get back at eagles and give them heck. So, not unjustified that crows constantly are getting back at eagles. But of course, starlings do it, swallows dive at them, and it's just fun because there's not much risk of a little tiny 6-8 inch wingspan bird getting caught by a big eagle. I mean, that's just not a physics option, because the little bird can turn such circles around the big bird, unless it was something like the crow being not yet fully feathered and not quite able to fly. Same reason that's when most of the gulls on the local gull
Yes.
colonies, or the ones that are now nesting in the city
Right.
on top of buildings, most of the gulls are caught when they're not quite yet able to fly, and then they're easy pickings for the eagles.
You know, unfortunately, the rain is picking up there.
Yes.
I have you know, I have a feeling I'm slowly going to pack up because I don't want this
No, you don't
wonderful equipment to be destroyed. That would be the last session. You know, that would be a big
Right.
pity.
I was surprised. I was trying to get you, but you went and left your cell phone at home.
Yes, I know, I did. Yeah, wonderful. I was in
So-
such a rush to get out here. And,
So I was.
Yes.
You said you'd only come if it wasn't raining, and it was raining at my place. So I thought, well, I better check with you.
okay, well, I'm sorry, but I think we're going to call it a day because
Yeah, it's getting.
it's
not only wind; it's getting
Yeah.
not only rain, but the wind is blowing it into the camera. So
yeah, sorry about that, but yeah, we'll be back very soon because the weather's fairly stable. So it's I think tomorrow's no good, right? And then
well, tomorrow's going to be rain. They
Right.
forecast rain.
okay,
And Wednesday or Thursday, we're hoping that Glenn Browning
oh yes, okay.
is going to take us out to that
Okay, very
out
good.
there in his boat, and we're going to set up the fuel cell
Well, you know what
and
I
a
can
camera
do?
out
Well,
there.
well, if you're out there and I manage, I can stand here with my camera lens and actually put you on live.
There you go. Yes, you could do that, because
Yes.
it's the
Yes.
very nest. I'm
Yes.
sorry, it's the very pylon
Yes.
that has the bucket on top that you photographed the
Yeah,
eagles.
yeah, that's right.
And I
that's right.
took that photo, a print of it, with me when we went out there to identify, because there are several different pylons.
Well, let's try. Let's
And that
try
one,
and do it.
the one in particular, is owned
Yes,
by this pair of eagles.
Right.
And when we got out there, Ma was sitting on it. So we're going to put a camera on that mount so we can watch what she does when she's out there. Okay. Well, we'll say goodbye. And
Yeah, we have to say goodbye because
all right.
so I'm just looking at the chat room. Yeah, we're going to enjoy the wine and cheese. Yeah, that's true. We certainly are. We're going to
boy,
have
they're-
some.
they're
yeah.